This call is now being recorded.
Okay, good afternoon all. So in the last lecture, we have started with the chapter number 1 of industrial engineering, that is introduction to the industrial engineering. And in the last lecture itself, we have covered some of the basic points related to the chapter number 1, that is introduction to industrial engineering. Then we have discussed about the important definitions as per the different standards or as per the different scientists, how that particular definitions of the industrial engineering has been defined. So in the last lecture, we have covered the role of industrial engineering, that means role of this particular subject or the role of industrial engineer in the industry, that we have discussed related to the introduction. Then also we have discussed the important definitions according to the number of resources are used. Then according to the American Institute of Industrial Engineers, according to him, that definition also we have discussed. After that, we have discussed about the contribution of F.W. Taylor. So that F.W. Taylor is one of the scientists who has developed the concept of this particular industrial engineering, or whatever the standard techniques are there, that standard techniques are developed by this particular F.W. Taylor. Therefore, he is also called as a father of scientific management, because he had developed the management principle. So whatever the standard techniques we are using in the industry in order to increase the productivity or in order to increase the effectiveness, at that time this scientist, it plays very important role, or whatever the techniques developed by him, that plays very important role. So he has developed the two concepts. One is the work study and another is a time study. The work study means this is the concept related to the eliminate the unnecessary operations, or from that we have to select the best method. So for example, sometimes the three manufacturing process we are having, and out of the three manufacturing process we have to select the best method for your further operation or for your further manufacturing. At that time, whatever the three methods or the three processes we are having, in that particular three methods we have to apply all the techniques or all the concepts of the industrial engineering, and out of that three methods we have to select the best one, and for that particular selections we have to use the concept of work study, or it is also called as a method study. Then time study means to measure the standard time. So there are so many operations we are performing. Each and every operation it is required to perform a time. For example, the 10 operations we have to perform, and each and every operation it is taking the 2 minutes. So at the end, if your raw material is converted into the finished goods, how much amount of standard time is required? Such types of the study we are going to carry out in this particular time study. Okay. Then in addition to that, this F.W. Taylor, he has proposed some of the basic things that we have discussed. That is, first one is a collect the data of each element. So your operation is there or your process is there. That process, it consists of a number of elements, or you can say it consists of a number of operations. So instead of going for all the detailed analysis, what we will do, that particular process we can divide in the number of elements, and the analysis of each and every element means the analysis of each and every operations we have to carry out. And from that particular analysis we can observe that how many unnecessary operations are present in that, or how much unnecessary time or ineffective time is present in that particular operation, and that unnecessary operations and ineffective time we can eliminate by using the concept of this particular F.W. Taylor. Then train the or develop the workers. If the unskilled operators are working on that particular operation, then there is a maximum chances of the wastage, as they are not aware about how to handle that particular machine, how to convert that particular raw material into the finished goods. Obviously, there is an increase in production time. If the production time is increases, automatically it will affect on the productivity, and it will be affects on the profit of that particular organization. Then third part, we have discussed about the proper cooperation or the proper relation between the management and the workers. If there is no any relation, proper relation in between them, at that time the workers are not doing their job in effective manner. So we have to keep the proper relation between the management and the workers, means we have to provide some standard schemes, we have to provide additional wages, also we have to provide the proper timing of the work. If the workers are satisfying all the conditions, then and then that workers or the employees, they can work in the effective manner. If they are working in the effective manner, obviously your production cost is goes on decreasing, means your profit is increases. Then wage payment system. That means sometimes in addition to the working time, some workers are doing the additional work. That means it is called as overtime. So for that particular overtime, we can provide the additional wage system or additional payment also we can provide. Eliminate the wastage. That elimination of the wastage is related to the operations, whatever we are performing. If unskilled operators are working on that particular machines, or if the machines are not working properly, it is taking the maximum time, automatically there may be possibility of wastage. So if we have to remove that particular wastage, on which particular parameters we have to focus. That means whether we have to provide the skilled workers, or whether we have to provide some material handling devices, or whether we have to provide some standard machines. Maybe that machine is operated by the man, or that machine will be operated by the computerized system. If we will provide the additional things, then there may be possibility of elimination of the wastage. And training to the workers. For example, if that industrial engineer, if he has developed a new technique and the workers has to work on that particular new technique, so it is not possible to implement that particular technique directly. So initially, whatever the new technique is developed by that particular engineer or your supervisor, they have to give the training to that workers, that is how this particular operation process is working. If detailed training is conducted, then and then only we can implement that particular process or operation in your further manufacturing. So these are the major contributions which are contributed by the F.W. Taylor. In addition to that, one more scientist is there which is called as a Gilbert. That Gilbert has contributed towards the motion study or the micro motion study of the job. Motion study means your product is moving from one station to the another station, then from second station to the third station, means the movement is taking place, and that motion or that particular movement is recorded by using the concept of the Gilbert. So there is some movement measuring techniques are there, or movement measuring tools are there. Through that particular tools, I can measure the movement or the motion of that particular job. Sometimes the movement of the workers is also taking place from one station to the another station, because some of the machines are there, maybe 2 or 3 machines are there, that 2 and 3 machines are handled by the single worker only. Means initially he is doing the job on workstation number 1. He will start the job, then he will move to the workstation number 2. Again he will start the job, again he will move to the workstation number 3. That means movement of that particular worker is also taking place from one station to the another station, and that movement and that particular motions we have to record, means we have to apply the concept developed by this particular Gilbert. So such types of the movements can be recorded by designing of that particular layout. If we are designing that particular workstation, instead of that material has to travel the maximum distance, we have to provide that particular workstations near to each other. That means if your operations on the workstation number 1 is finished, then immediately that component or that particular job has to move on the second operation or for the second workstation without taking the delay. If that job is taking the much more time to move from one station to the another station, means your production time goes on increasing. Therefore, the motion, movements or the micro motions, sometimes what happens, your component is moving in very small direction, but again and again their motion is taking place in the form of repetitive movement. That means he is going forward, then again coming to the backward, going forward, again coming to the backward. That means these are the micro motions which are carried out by that particular job. That micro motions also we can record, and if the movement is required to perform that particular operation, we can provide the time. If unnecessary the motion is taking place, unnecessary movement is taking place in the job, at that time we have to eliminate that unnecessary movement from one station to the another station. So that particular micro motion study or the motion study concept is developed by the second scientist who is called as a Gilbert. Then similar to that, F.W. Taylor, what he is doing, he is dividing their work into the number of elements. Instead of focusing on the total work, he is dividing that particular work into the number of elements. Similarly, that Gilbert has also developed the same concept, that is, he is dividing the work into number of fundamental elements and studying that particular element separately. My means 10 operations we have to perform. So what we have to do? That 10 operations we have to divide in the 10 number of operations, and analysis of each and every operations we have to carry it out separately. That means operation number 1, how much amount of time is required to perform the operation number 1, how much amount of time is required to perform the operation number 2. Like that, we have to go for the detailed analysis of each and every operation or each and every element, and after that we have to decide the relation between them. Sometimes operation number 1 and operation number 2 both are correlated with each other. If they can perform on the same workstation, at that time the operation number 1 and operation number 2 we can perform on the same station, means your production time goes on decreasing. Therefore, as per the Gilbert contribution, what is the requirement? Whatever your total work is there, that total work we have to divide into the number of elements, and the analysis of each and every element we have to carry it out separately, and at the end, once the analysis is over, we have to give the relation between them. So instead of performing the operations on the different workstations, we have to check that whether that operations we can perform on the same workstation. If it is possible, obviously whatever number of operations we are performing, it will get decreases, and that job has not to travel the maximum distance from one station to the another station. So this is the second contribution which is contributed by this particular Gilbert. Then third, he has developed some of the symbols. In the last lecture also I have discussed, that means if you have to represent the operation, at that time it is not possible to represent that particular operation in the theoretical manner, because some workers are unskilled workers, unskilled operators are there. They are not aware about the theoretical parts. Only they are having the practical knowledge. So for the such types of the workers, we have to provide some standard symbols. Through that particular symbols, that worker can easily understood that now he has to perform the operation. Now he has to take the delay. Now he has to change the coolant. Now he has to change the oil. Now he has to change the tool, or now he has to change the job. So if all these particular operations, if it is represented in the symbolic manner, then that operators, workers or unskilled labor, they can easily understood that he has to perform this particular task. But if we give the standard notes in the descriptive manner and they are unaware about this particular information, because sometimes they are also unable to read that particular parameters. So instead of providing the information in the descriptive manner, we have to provide some standard symbols. Then which types of operations are there? For example, select. If we have to select the operation or if we have to select the job. So for select term, there is some standard symbol. If I have to transport that particular material from one station to the another station, so for that particular transport, separate symbol is provided. Then if I have to hold the component or if I have to hold the job in that particular machine, then for holding purpose, one standard symbol is provided. If I have to take the delay, why delay is required? Because sometimes we have to change the job, sometimes we have to change the tool, we have to change the coolant, we have to change the oil, sometimes that worker has to go for washing the hands or drinking the water. That means delay is taking place in between two operations, and that delay is represented by the standard symbol. So whatever the movement is taking place while converting the raw material into the finished goods, all these movements are represented by the standard symbols, and that symbols are developed by this particular second scientist who is called as a Gilbert. And fourth one is he has developed the micro motion studies as graphical representation of many repetitive operations in short cycle. Just now we have discussed about the micro motion study. Micro motion study means sometimes the component is moving in the forward direction, again it is coming back. Again it is moving to the forward direction, again it is coming back. Means some micro movements are taking place, and that micro movements are represented by the graphical manner. So through that particular graphical manner, we can easily understand that where the repetitive movements are taking place or the repetitive operations are taking place. Your operation is very small. Your job is very small. it is finished within 10 to 15 minutes, but it is taking the 20 or 25 minutes. Why? Because many times there is a repetitive movements or the repetitive operations of that particular job is taking place, and all these particular repetitive movements are recorded by this particular graph, or it is recorded in the form of graphical presentation, and at the end we can eliminate that particular repetitive operations, and your production time it will get decreases. So these are the major contributions who has contributed by the Gilbert. That means he has focused on the motion study or the micro motion study. Then as per his consideration, he is dividing the work into the number of elements and analysis of each and every element, or we can say that analysis of each and every operations we have to carry out, and after that we have to prove the relation between them. Then he has developed some standard symbols for standard operations, whatever the movements are taking place to convert the raw material into the final finished goods or finished products. So whatever the movements are taking place, that all the movements are represented by the symbolic manner, and at the end he has focused on the repetitive operations in the short cycle. So that repetitive operations also it can be recorded, it is represented in the graphical manner, and at the end these repetitive operations can be eliminated and we can complete your job in the minimum amount of time. So these are the major contributions who has contributed by this particular Gilbert, and these are the standard symbols. Whatever the symbols I have discussed just now, who has developed, that is Gilbert has developed this particular standard symbols. That is symbols used for the micro motion study. Micro motion study means the movement of the job is taking place in very small distance. So these are the some standard symbols. For example, if you have to search, then I can use this particular symbol. If I have to find, I can use this particular symbol. If I have to select the tool, or if I have to select the job, then that operation can be represented by using this particular arrow. If I have to hold the component, then that holding can be represented by this particular symbol. If I have to transport the load, or transport is loaded, that means it is in the moving direction. At that time, this is the standard symbol. So these are the number of symbols. So at the left side, the symbol is given, and near to its right side, its description is given. So these are the some repetitive movements. Sometimes it is taking place while converting the raw material into the finished goods. So if I have to represent that particular each and every motion, so these particular symbols are used to represent the movement or the motion or the micro motion study of that particular symbol. In the next chapter, whatever we are using, that is work measurement in the section number 2. When we are starting with this particular work measurement chapter, in that these particular symbols are used for performing the operations, and how to use these particular symbols, that we will discuss in that particular chapter only. Now this is the just for your understanding which type of symbols are developed and what is the meaning of the each and every symbol in the concept of micro motion study. And these particular symbols are developed by the Gilbert, who is the second scientist related to the development of the concept of the industrial engineering. Okay, so these are the major contributions who has contributed by the F.W. Taylor and the Gilbert. So whatever the techniques are developed by both the scientists, if we will apply this particular techniques in the industry, then there may be possibility of maximum productivity. If we are not applying, if we are not using the techniques, automatically your production time is increases and your profit and the productivity is going to decreases. Therefore, we have to use their techniques for your industry. Okay, then these are the major objectives. So whatever the things we have discussed just now, but that industrial engineering is having some major objectives. So what is the first objective? Selection of manufacturing process and assembly procedure. Selection of manufacturing process and assembly procedure. Manufacturing processes means the single product or single component, it can be manufactured by the number of processes. So number of techniques, number of processes are available to convert your raw material into the finished goods. Or sometimes if I have to go for the assembly of the products, so for that particular assembly, I can use any techniques. Means which type of operations I have to take first, which components I have to assemble first, which component assemble I have to assemble in the second, which component I have to assemble in the third. So number of manufacturing processes as well as number of assembly procedures are available, but out of that, which manufacturing process I have to select for the final manufacturing and which assembly procedure I have to select for the final assembly. This is the major objective of the industrial engineering. Means we have to apply all the techniques in that particular manufacturing process, and out of all these manufacturing processes I have to select the best process for the manufacturing and the best process for assembling the component. So this is the first objective. Then second one, establishing the methods for improving the operations and controlling the production cost. Improving the operations. Improving the operation means in minimum time, if I can obtain the maximum products or in the minimum number of resources, input resources means man, machine, material, capital investment, energy, workers. That means in minimum number of inputs, if I will achieve the maximum output, then I can say that my operation goes on increasing, or that operations are goes on increasing. But in the minimum production cost. Sometimes we are increasing the production. At one side we are increasing the production, but at another side your production cost is increases. Means we are giving the number of inputs. If number of inputs are increases, no problem. Production is 100% increases. But what is our requirement? Your production should be increased without increasing the number of inputs. That means in minimum number of inputs, if I will achieve the maximum output, then only I can say that my production goes on increasing. If input parameters are also increases, output is also increases, production is also increases, but I cannot say that my production is increases. Why? Because input parameters are also increased. Therefore, here your industrial engineering, the major objective is that establishing the methods of improving the operations and controlling the production cost. Then third, developing the way of reducing the cost. Reducing the cost means whatever the production cost is there, that production cost we have to reduce. How it will be reduced? Means we have to provide the standard or the skilled workers to operate the machines. Then if it is possible to provide the CNC or the VMC machine, then automatically your production cost goes on decreasing. Also, in minimum number of inputs, if I will achieve the maximum output, then also I can reduce that particular production cost. So this is the third objective. Then fourth, researching the way of improving the efficiency of the processes. Improve the efficiency of the processes means whatever the manufacturing processes we are using to convert the raw material into the finished goods, efficiency of that particular process we have to increase. Efficiency means whatever the workers are provided, that workers has to work in the effective manner. Whatever the time is required, for example, if the 5 minutes are given to perform the operation number 1, and if I am finishing that particular operation in 6 minutes, how it is possible to increase the efficiency of that particular process? It is not possible. If the 5 minutes are given and if I will finish that particular work within 4 minutes, then automatically efficiency of that particular process goes on increasing. Therefore, this is the fourth objective, which is related to the researching the way of improving the efficiency of the process. If I have to increase the efficiency, I can provide the skilled operator. If I have to improve the efficiency, I can provide the standard machinery. That means CNC and the VMC. So if on this particular parameters, if I will focus, then there is a chances to improve the efficiency of that particular process. Then next, improving the production process and simultaneously ensuring the worker safety. At one side, we are increasing the production processes, but at another side, we have to focus on the worker safety also. Sometimes the company wants the maximum production and that company will remain start for whole day, or that worker has to work for the maximum hours, maybe for 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. Means we are not considering the worker's capacity, we are not considering its safety. Sometimes in the industry, that workers are doing they are working on the heavy duty applications. So while working in that particular heavy duty applications, we have to provide some safety devices so that worker can work in the effective manner, and automatically your production is goes on increasing. If the safety is not provided, and maximum times if the accidents are happening in the industry, if accidents are happening means there is a delay in the production. Means we have to stop that particular production line and we have to focus on that particular worker to take them into the hospital. So such types of the situations are happening in the industry. Therefore, while improving your production, at another side we have to focus on the workers' safety also. Then selection of tools and equipment and designing them in case of a special requirement. Selection of tools and equipment. Tools means whatever the tools, whatever the machineries, whatever the equipments we are using to convert the raw material into the finished goods, that tools should be worked, or that equipment should be worked in the effective manner. Sometimes in some of the machines, after 1 hour, immediately there is a breakage of tool, immediately there is a finishing of the coolant, immediately there is a finishing of the oil. Means this process or this particular equipment, it creates the problem again and again. So such types of the equipment should not be provided in that particular production process. Or some of the equipments are there which are manually operated. Some of the equipments are there which are automatically by using the computerly operated. Instead of using the manual operations, if we will provide the computerized machines or computerized equipments, then again there is a improvement of that particular production processes or the improvement of the production. And sometimes, as per the special cases, sometimes the standard machines as it is not possible to use. If, for example, if we are having the standard drilling machine, so that drilling machine is not feasible to perform the required operations. At that time, as per the requirement of that particular product, sometimes we have to design the special equipment or the special tools. Whatever the standard equipments are available, we can use that particular equipment for the production purpose. But sometimes some standard components are there, some products are there. For that particular product, the standard equipments are not useful. In such conditions, as per the requirement of that particular product, we have to design the special equipments or the special tools. Then next, facility design, which includes the plant location, layout, machine, material handling system, raw material, and the finished good storage facility. Means in the facility design, it includes the plant location. So the location of your industry, it also plays very important role. If we are planning your industry nearby the villages, so at that time it creates the problem for the transportation, it will create the problem for the input resources, it will create the problem for the marketing. So while selecting the plant locations, we have to consider some standard factors also. If we provide that particular locations nearby the city, so your marketing is also in good condition, or there is no maximum travel, because sometimes the transportation cost, that factor also we have to consider. Therefore, this plant location, it also plays very important role, or it is one of the important objective of the IE. Then layout, which type of layout we have to use, whether the layout it is in vertical direction only, or whether that particular layout, that means, or the sequence of the operation, whether it is in horizontal direction, or whether it is in inclined direction, or whether it is in zigzag direction. That layout also we have to study in the proper way, due to which there is no maximum amount of repetitive movement should be taking place for that particular job, or that worker has to not travel the maximum distance from one station to the another station. Then machines, just now we have discussed standard machines or the machines as per the requirement of the product. Material handling systems or material handling devices. So some heavy duty components are there. That heavy duty components can be operated by using some tractors are there, some cranes are there, or some small components are there, but it is available in mass. So to handle that particular small components, we have to provide some trolley devices. So that particular components can be easily movable from one location to the another location. So the design of the material handling devices, maybe we can use the belt drive, we can use the chain drive. So like that devices we can use or we can implement in the industry. Then raw material, this is one of the important resources. If the raw material is not available, it is not possible to obtain the finished products or the finished goods. So the raw material should be easily available from the market, or it should be easily available from the nearby the location. So your transportation cost is goes on decreasing, and whatever the final products we are manufacturing, to store that particular product, the storage facility should be available in that particular industry. It is not possible once the product is finished, it can be kept at particular corner. So like that situation should not be happen in the industry. The proper layout should be designed, means after performing the number of operations, if your product is finally developed, that product should be reached to the storage device for quality checking or maybe for your further packaging. Then, establishing the production planning and control system. Establishing the production planning, control system and quality system for smooth functioning of the organization. Production planning means whatever the production processes we are considering, whatever the production is going on in the industry. Before starting the productions, we have to go for its planning, how to finish that particular work, then control system, then quality system. It is not possible to focus only on the productions. We have to focus on the quality of the product. Sometimes the products are manufactured in the mass quantity, but we are not checking their quality. Therefore, the effect of the quality, it is also considered as an important objective of that particular IE. Then, developing standard time or developing time standard, job evaluation and merit rating along with incentive scheme. Time standard, developing time standard. Time standard means if I have to convert this particular raw material into the finished goods, the standard time should be given to them. If 1 hour is required, then you have to finish that particular work in 1 hour only. Once that product is finished, the product is finalized, we have to go for its evaluation, and that concept is called as a job evaluation. Means we have to go for the analysis of job, we have to give the description of that particular job, and at the end, once the evaluation is over, then we have to go for its merit rating. That means out of the 5 ratings, how much amount of rating should be given to that particular job. Maybe rating 1, rating 2, rating 3, rating 4, rating 5. It depends on that particular industry. Means developing the standard time, then that component is moving for the job evaluation. In the job evaluation, we are carrying out the detailed testing, we are carrying out the detailed analysis of that particular job, and based on the performance of that particular job, we have to provide the ratings, and that concept is called as a merit rating. That rating should be given to the job, or sometimes the rating should be given to the workers, because some of the workers, they are work in the effective manner, mean in minimum time. If they are taking the maximum production, then for such types of the workers, some rating should be provided, or some additional wages or the additional money, which is called as an incentive scheme. That incentives should be provided to them. And last one is a installation of value engineering and performance standards of the system. So whatever the process we have finalized, so that particular process we can observe that now this particular process is feasible. By using this particular process, I can convert the raw material into the finished goods in effective manner, or due to this particular process, my productivity goes on increasing, profit is goes on increasing. So at the end, the installation of the value engineering and performance standards, it should be given to that particular system, or particular to that particular industry, or for this particular organization. So these are the major objectives. That objectives should be satisfied by using this particular industrial engineering concept. If I will implement all these particular objectives in any type of industry, automatically in minimum resources we can achieve the maximum output. And what is our role? What is our requirement? To increase the productivity. If productivity is increases, profit is increases. So if I will implement, if I will consider all these particular objectives or all these particular terms in the industry or in any organization, or maybe in the government sector, maybe in the healthcare sector, maybe in the banking sector, because industrial engineering, it is not related to only for the industry. It can be used in various types of sectors. Maybe in the health sectors are there, then some government sectors are there, some banking sectors are there. In all the sectors, the concepts of the industrial engineering or these particular points are useful for their increasing the productivity. So these are the major objectives of the industrial engineering. Now we will discuss about the productivity. What is mean by the productivity? So we are having the simple formula. Productivity is equal to output upon input. Productivity is equal to output upon input. If your output is increases, then and then only I can say that my productivity is increases. Sometimes inputs are increases, output is also increases, but I cannot say that the productivity is increases because we have increased the number of inputs, and due to the increasing in number of inputs, your output is increased. But what is our requirement? In minimum number of input resources, in minimum number of inputs, if I will achieve the maximum output, then and then only I can say that the productivity is goes on increasing. Therefore, in the productivity, the first sentence is, it is the attitude of mind. It is the attitude of mind. While converting the raw material into the finished goods, in which direction we are looking to that particular product. If we are thinking in the positive manner, then and then only that operations can be performed in the well and good manner. Or sometimes that productivity is also depends upon the tendency of that particular worker. If that worker is taking the maximum fatigue, if he is unhappy while performing the operation on that particular machine, at that time it will be create the problems on the production. So the first sentence is, the productivity is the attitude of mind. तुमचा बघण्याचा दृष्टिकोन कसा आहे for that particular product. So that attitude, your attitude, it also plays very important role to increase the productivity. And second, also it is a mentality of progress at the constant improvement. It is the mentality of progress at the constant improvement. It is not required that your productivity is continuously goes on decreasing. In this particular month, productivity is increases. In the second month, it may remain constant, but it should not be decreases. In third month, if it will be increases as compared to the first month, it is accepted. But it is a mentality of progress at the constant improvement. That means continuously there should be improvement. And how that particular improvement will be taking place? How that particular improvement will be taking place? If I will decreasing the number of input parameters, and from that minimum number of input parameters, if I will achieve the maximum output, then and then only I can say that the constant improvement is taking place. In first month, that process is taking the 10 hours. In the second month, again it is taking the 10 hours. In third month, if that process is taking the 9 hours, that means within 9 hours, your raw material is converted into the finished goods. Means there is a constant improvement is taking place. So it is the mentality of progress at the constant improvement. There should not be any decreasement. There should be the improvement of that particular job. Therefore, also it is gives, or the productivity can be defined as what we produce and what resources we use to produce them. It also gives what we produce, which parameters, which product we have to produce, and in order to produce that particular product, which resources we are using. That means your input and your output. These two parameters, it plays very important role in order to measure the productivity of that particular industry or that particular organization. Therefore, it is the ratio of amount of produce, that is output, to the amount of resources, that is input. That means productivity is defined as it is the ratio of output upon input. Input means which are the input parameters? Man, machine, material, energy, knowledge, information, your capital investment, and some another factors are there. These are the input parameters. That means so many input parameters are there. But there is only one output. Which is the output? Your finished product or the finished goods. If I will control all the input parameters, and from that minimum number of input parameters, if I will finish my product in minimum number of resources, automatically your productivity is goes on increases. Therefore, productivity is directly proportional to your output parameters. Okay, so these are the basic definitions that we have discussed. That is, it is an attitude of mind. If you are looking to that particular product, or if you are looking to that your work in the positive direction, obviously there is a maximum output in the minimum number of resources. In the productivity, there should be a constant improvement. Continuously improvement should be there. So we can say that your productivity is continuously increases. Then it also gives the relation what we produce. That means which product I have to manufacture, and for manufacturing that particular product, which type of resources I have to use. That factor also considered in case of a productivity concept, and according to that we have made the definition, that is, it is the ratio of output upon input. Okay. Now again, as per some standards, these are the three definitions. That is, first definition, it is a function of providing more and more of everything to the more and more people with less and less resources. It is the function of providing more and more everything. That means whatever the customer requirement is there, that customer requirements, if we are satisfying to the more and more people, because what happens in the market, so many similar type of products are available. So your customers are reaching to that product who is feasible to them, whose cost is less. In minimum cost, they are taking the maximum benefit. Means the productivity is concerned with providing more and more of everything. That means as per the customer requirement, if we are providing to them, to the more and more people with less and less resources. म्हणजे कमीत कमी इनपुट मध्ये जर आपण त्यांना मॅक्सिमम पॅरामीटर जर प्रोव्हाइड करत असेल, म्हणजे त्यांच्या ऍज पर देअर रिक्वायरमेंट, त्यांच्या रिक्वायरमेंट पेक्षा जर ऍडिशनल फॅसिलिटी इफ वी आर प्रोव्हाइडिंग टू दॅट पर्टिक्युलर पीपल्स और द कस्टमर्स, देन वी कॅन से दॅट अवर प्रोडक्टिविटी इज increases. But if the customers are not satisfying with our product and we are giving the maximum inputs, your input is increases, but your product is not that much good as compared to the another product, your productivity will not be increased. Therefore, it is a function of providing more and more of everything to each and every people, or more and more people with less and less resources. Means in minimum number of resources, we have to provide the maximum output to the people. Then second definition, brought all the resources together in the organization and utilize it to achieve your objective. Whatever the number of input resources are there, out of the number of input resources, three resources are plays very important role, which are man, machine and material. If these three resources are works together in the effective manner, then and then only our objective can be achieved. Out of these three resources, if any one resource, for example, mans are not working properly, or if unskilled operators are available, machines, the machines are not properly operable, or there is no proper raw material available in the industry, means if any one parameter is missing, automatically it is not possible to achieve your the objectives. Therefore, the productivity means brought all the resources together in your organization, utilize them. Whatever the skilled operators are with you, utilize them properly. Whatever the machines, standard machines, that manual operated machines, automated machines, whatever they are available, use them properly. Whatever the raw material is available, in minimum raw material, if I will achieve the maximum product, that means in minimum number of resources, I can achieve the maximum output, means I can achieve my objective. And third definition is that productivity is multiplier effect of efficiency and the effectiveness. If your productivity is increases, automatically the efficiency of that particular production process or their effectiveness, it will get increases. If the efficiency of that particular process or that particular production process or that particular assembly procedure, if it will increases, automatically it affects on the output. And if the output is increases, automatically your productivity is also goes on increasing. So these are the different three definitions. That means the first definition is related to the in less and less resources, we can provide everything to the each and every people. Second definition, brought all the resources together in your organization and utilize them in proper direction in the effective manner so we can achieve your objective. And out of this, all this number of resources, 3 resources we have to focus more: man, machine, and the material. And last definition is related to the productivity is the multiplier effect of efficiency and the effectiveness. If I will manage all the input parameters in the good manner, if I will manage my manufacturing process in the good manner, that means in less resources, if I will achieve the maximum output, I can say that that particular assembly procedure or that particular manufacturing process, it works in the effective manner or its efficiency is high. If efficiency increases, effectiveness is increases, output is increases, output is directly proportional to the productivity, means your productivity is also goes on increasing. So this is about the basic introduction related to the productivity, its formula, output upon input, and as per the utilization of input resources, these are the 3 important definitions. Okay. Then, so okay, so we'll discuss with this point and then we will stop. Then productivity measures. So if I have to measure the productivity can be measured as per the different manner. I can measure the labor productivity, I can measure the capital productivity, I can measure the material productivity, I can measure the amount of energy if it is used. Then that productivity also I can measure. Therefore, the efficiency of organization can be tested or verified by measuring the productivity. So whatever the industry is there, whatever the organization is there, efficiency of that particular organization or the efficiency of that particular industry, it can be tested or it can be verified by measuring the productivity of that particular industry. If the productivity of that particular industry is high, then I can say that efficiency of that particular organization or efficiency of that particular industry, it is also high. Therefore, if I have to check the performance of any industry, I have to measure its productivity. If I got the productivity, it is maximum, I can say that that particular organization, it is working in the effective manner because its efficiency is high. Then there are special methods to measure it. That is, partial productivity is equal to output upon one type of input. Because there are so many input resources are there. Labor is there, your capital investment is there, your material resources are there, energy is there, then some skilled operators are there. There are so many input parameters are there. And if I have to calculate the productivity of each and every input parameters, that productivity is called as a partial productivity, which is equal to output upon one type of input. That is, first of all, if I will measure the labor productivity, therefore labor productivity is equal to total output upon labor input. If I have to calculate the total output of that particular process, at that time, how much amount of labor input is given? Labor input means number of man hours. How much amount of hour that worker has done the job. This is called as a labor productivity. Then capital productivity is equal to total output upon capital input. How much amount of capital investment we have invested for that particular organization or for that particular industry. Means capital productivity is equal to total output upon capital input. Material productivity is equal to total output upon material input. Similarly, energy productivity is equal to total output upon energy input. Definition of productivity is equal to output upon input. This is the common definition. But we are having the number of input resources. And if I have to check the productivity of each and every resources, or what is the effect of that particular input parameter on the total productivity, that I have to check. Therefore, these are the 4 formulas according to the number of input parameters. That is, labor productivity is equal to output, total output upon labor input. Capital productivity is equal to total output upon capital input. Similarly, material productivity is equal to total output upon material input. And last one, energy productivity is equal to total output upon the energy input. And the total factor productivity is equal to, we are having the formula, total factor productivity is equal to net output upon labor plus capital input. So net output means whatever the final output we got divided by labor plus capital input, because these are the three important parameters: labor and the how much amount of capital investment we are doing in that. Therefore, this particular product, that is total factor productivity, is equal to net output divided by labor plus capital input. And in that, the labor and capital were more significant contribution in the process of production. Other parameters are also there. That is, material is there, energy is there, knowledge is there. But out of this number of input parameters, your labor, whether they are skilled or unskilled, and your capital investment, these are the most significant contribution in the process of the production. And sometimes some productivity, labor may go up, but in some productivity, capital productivity is go down. Labor may go up means the labor cost is sometimes increases, but at the same time the capital productivity goes on decreasing. But if I want to increase the labor productivity, I have to provide the skilled operators. I have to provide the skilled operators. Means our capital investment is increases, but in that particular capital investment, I can get the good labor having the good skill. Therefore, in all the number of input parameters, your labor and your capital input, these are the major contribution in the process of the production. And sometimes labor productivity, sometimes it is increases, and the capital productivity it is goes on decreases. Why? Because for the skilled operator we have to give the maximum salary. Means your capital productivity is increases or decreases, but you are at one side you will get the good laborers, so they can work in the effective manner. Okay, so these are the productivity measures. That means which types of the productivity we have to measure, that is labor productivity, capital productivity, material productivity, and the energy productivity. Okay, so with this today we will stop here. The remaining part we will take in the next lecture. So now I will take the attendance. Yes, roll number 1. Don't type your roll numbers in the chat box. I will call the numbers and give the attendance. Roll number 1. Roll number 1.
Present, sir.
Yes, 1. Roll number 2.
Present, sir.
Roll number 3. 4.
Present, sir.
5.
Present, sir.
6.
Yes, sir.
7.
Present, sir.
8.
Yes, sir.
9.
Yes, sir.
10. 11.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Roll number 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. Roll number 16.
Yes, sir.
17. 18.
Yes, sir. 18.
19.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
20. 21.
Yes, sir.
21.
Yes, sir.
22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28.
Yes, sir.
29. 30. Roll number 30. 31.
Yes, sir. 31.
32.
30,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
30.
32.
Yes, sir.
33.
Yes, sir.
34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41,
Yes, sir.
42,
Yes, sir.
43,
43,
44,
sir. 43. 43.
44, 45,
Yes, sir.
46, 47, 48,
Yes, sir. 48.
49, 49, 50, 51, 51, 52,
Yes, sir.
53,
Yes, sir.
54, 55, 55, 56,
Yes, sir.
57, 58,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
57, 59, 59, 59 is there, 60,
Yes, sir.
61,
Yes, sir.
62,
Yes, sir.
63, 64,
Sir, 63 present.
64, 65, 65,
Sir, 40,
Hello.
40,
49.
Sir, 36.
49,
Sir, 30.
36.